Welcome back to Yang Daily. Sorry for the delay. It's another double-decker episode. Tons to get through and more that I couldn't even fit in, so let's waste no time. Great news. It's been confirmed by Tim Ryan that Pelosi is on board with basic income as a priority for the next stimulus package. We're now using "Thank you, Madam Speaker" in messages to thank Pelosi for supporting basic income. It's basic human psychology to give positive feedback when people do what you want, especially since she mostly receives negativity. That makes our kind words stand out all the more and have greater impact. I know a lot of us have bad feelings about Pelosi, but that's all the more reason to let her know when she's doing the right thing. We have to reform these people somehow. Now that we've got Pelosi, we need to keep her and work on Trump, I think. McConnell doesn't care what we think, but Trump is a slave to his ego. We just need to convince him that he can be the people's hero and win the election by passing UBI. Once he's on board, McConnell will do his bidding and the rest of the Republican Congress will fall in line. Get on it, gang. Meanwhile, Mitt Romney is advocating to add a $12 per hour bonus pay for essential workers to balance out the $600 per week extra unemployment insurance of the CARES bill. So let's follow along here. First, they pass assistance just for the unemployed. Then they pass assistance for everyone under an income threshold because everyone needs help. Now they're realizing it was unfair to benefit the unemployed more than the employed, so they're balancing that out. In other words, the government is inching its way toward the realization that they should have just given everyone the same amount of aid in a move we call basic income. Instead, they are piecemealing their way to it so that they end up wanting what it would have provided, but with an implementation that's full of holes and inefficiencies. For instance, the newest proposed piece would be paid through tax credits to the businesses, which would have to pay 25% of the bonus pay themselves, making it complex, delayed, objectionable, biased toward big business, etc. Oh, and it's means-tested as well. Typical. And he says Democrats are pushing a $25,000 per person subsidy for essential workers. Here's a thought. Roll back everything you're doing and go with the solution that would have worked best all along. Moving on, Scott Santons and the Fund for Humanity have teamed up to provide a great resource which timelines all the UBI trials conducted in the United States, along with relevant details about the trials. It's a good place to go when you get the specious objection of, sure, it worked in that other country in the world, but it wouldn't work here. Heidi Briones' race is coming up very soon, ballots are already going out, and she needs phone bankers to push her over the edge. She's also being outspent like 10 to 1, so donations can also help. Heidi is exactly the kind of advocate the people need in Congress. Let's get her where we need her. I feel I might have already introduced this next UBI congressional candidate, but I'm not entirely sure, so I'm doing it now / again. Jonathan Herzog is running for New York's District 10 on basically Yang's whole platform. He's self-proclaimed Yang Gang, and you can find his website and Twitter below. Check him out. We also got news that Yang will be officially endorsing David Kim soon. Congrats to David. Matt Ferner is pitching the idea of a coalition of states that are forming to coordinate responses to the crisis, foregoing hoping and waiting on Congress, and adopting their own regional UBIs. While regional UBI is definitely inferior to a nationwide UBI for multiple reasons, I think this is a pretty good idea. The West or East Coasts could make themselves the envy of the country by adopting a UBI funded by a progressive VAT, and the proof of concept would lead the rest of the country to it. If not at the federal level, then at the state level, as other states see the GDP growth and prosperity of the participating states put their own to shame. It might be time to start planting the seeds of this idea in the minds of state legislators, gang. Barry Ritholtz delivered an article to Bloomberg News looking back on what's been done in economic crises of the past, and another Bloomberg author, Ben Steverman, did likewise. I'm going to combine their thoughts here. The TLDR of Barry's is that past crises like the Great Depression produced huge forward-thinking government investments in technologies and infrastructures that produced America's proudest accomplishments and most prosperous eras. For Ben, it's that income and wealth inequality plummeted in the Great Depression and produced the welfare safety net. World War II again produced investments in the private sector and also raised workers' rights and wages. We missed our chance to create that kind of investment-fueled growth of the economy in 2009, as well as the chance to reduce inequality. We actually grew inequality instead by bailing out only the financial sector and making no investment in the people or socially valuable works that the private industry alone won't handle. The time has come again, and as Yang agrees, we should take the opportunity to make investments that will set the company up for another era of prosperity, not only with UBI, but with an evolution of our energy sector, rebuilding crumbling infrastructure, accelerating our lead in AI, and more. In short, this is our chance to put America back on top for the next half century, both for our country and our people. Oh, and the article included a particular statistic I hadn't heard on automation, which is that a 2012 study found that since the 80s, 88% of the job losses in routine or easily automated positions happened within 1 year of a recession. 88%. Even as the other occupations bounce back in recovery, the jobs lost to automation never return. Researchers at Brookings Institute estimate as many as 36 million U.S. jobs could be at risk if that dynamic plays out once more. And University of California researchers recently studied 12 pandemics that killed more than 100,000 people since the 14th century. They found that the economic effects linger for about 40 years after the last victim dies. I think we'd better follow Yang and these authors' advice and make some changes, y'all, and make them good. Scott Santens participated in a discussion on UBI responses to COVID and possible ways to push UBI further. I haven't had time to listen to it yet, but it sounds like it could be an important one. Anything that helps us learn how to be more effective is valuable. Matt's newest episode of his interview podcast features Fred the Felon and NFL's Marcellus Wiley. Check it out if you're interested. Commonwealth is conducting a study related to COVID on individuals making less than $75,000 annually and have partnered with UBD Income to provide digital cash rewards to all participants. I haven't had time to look into the details yet, but if you're interested, follow the link below. You can use Scott's referral code, also found below. In an unexpected twist, Yang appeared on Jeopardy. No, not as a contestant, as the answer to a question. The question was who authored the book The War on Normal People and championed the idea of UBI. And the woman got it right. And better yet, it took her winnings from $200 to, you guessed it, $1,000, or as it's known in the gang, one Yang. This is further proof that Yang is penetrating the former media blackout and becoming a household name. Once you hit Jeopardy, you've hit the big time. Yang was also honored by Gold House as their 2020 most impactful person in activism, advocacy, and politics on their A100 list. That is a bold statement, but probably true. Congrats, Andrew. You deserve it, boss. Finally, if you've been waiting for the official Humanity Forward masks, they are on the way. Yang tweeted that they will begin selling masks with the words human or math this week. And that'll do it for today's Yang Daily. Help us thank Pelosi and convince Trump. Bookmark the UBI trial timeline. Help Heidi with phone banking or donations. Check out Herzog and consider supporting him. Check out the international UBI discussion. Participate in the paid COVID survey. Visit bailoutthepeople.com to take action. Call the congressional switchboard to send the most effective message you can to your representatives. Ship a letter to both Congress and the Ways and Means Committee. Help recruit burners and others to the cause and get everyone to sign the petition to join the UBI movement. Flood all of Congress and the White House with calls, tweets, and letters, but particularly 5 calls a day, using ResistBot or Income Movement for easy contact. Print and hand out your neighborhood outreach cards. Consult Humanity Forward, the Income Movement Aid Database, United Way, or the H3 podcast thread if you need help. Consider what we can do to push the movement forward in this critical moment and discuss with others at the local hubs and the support links. And don't forget to Yang Daily.